Justin Gaethje, a collegiate wrestler who doesn't wrestle. He's got powerful hands and willingness to engage. He has no problem moving forward, swinging wild. Paddy Pimblett, a big, strong grappler. Paddy's listed as a smaller person here. He will look bigger in the cage, and I think he is bigger. He's 5'10". Justin Gaethje's 5'11". I don't believe those numbers. Paddy Pimblett is big as shit for this weight class. And when he uses that size and he comes forward and he drags it to the ground, he has a lot of success. On the ground, he's a very slick grappler with incredible control. And if you told me a year ago that Paddy Pimblett would be a UFC champion, I would call you gay. I would accuse you of being a British homer, and I would send you packing. But here we are. We are just a few weeks removed from the bowl cut king holding a UFC belt. And I love Justin Gaethje. He's a dying breed of savage in the UFC, but I don't think he wins here. He was a collegiate wrestler, but he doesn't wrestle. And while I wouldn't want him wrestling in this matchup, I think the problem is he's going to need to defend some takedowns, and those aren't great either. He just got taken down by Rafael Fiziev.
Keeps his chin way up in the air. I know that's why people love him. I know people love Paddy Pimblett because of that. The problem is, though, I just don't like seeing that and then trying to justify picking him to beat Justin Gaethje, who just beat Rafael Fiziev a couple of times in the last few years. Now, I know that Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, it is what it is. But another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looks so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's a much better striker out of the two. We've seen him go 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 rounds against Holloway. I know that he got knocked out in the last second of that fight, and, it did kind of suck for that. I actually think I picked Holloway to beat him, though. I can't actually remember. But anyway, it did kind of suck for Gaethje for that to have happened, but, it did kind of create a viral moment that people are still trying to recreate to this day.
The UFC's a business. Paddy versus Gaethje is a bigger fight than Arman versus either of those two.
Okay.
It's a Paramount biggest first pay-per-view. I'm talking with my hands a lot.
I got one.
Come on.
No, I'm good.
Who you guys got? Paddy versus Gaethje? It's an interesting
dude,
fight.
I got Paddy all day.
I think I
He's
do
fucking
too.
bad, dude. He's good.
It's weird though. It's like 3 years ago you asked me that. I'm like, I don't know. Jared Gordon beat him. It's like, but now Paddy's on a Paddy's good.
Who did Justin just fight, like, recent?
Justin hasn't fought him.
He got knocked
last
out.
fight.
The last fight he got knocked out, right? By Holloway?
Max? Oh, shit. Justin or
No,
That was Justin, but Max Holloway knocked him out, yeah?
No,
they were
Gaethje's
just
37. He's
in the
not gonna.
pocket.
His last fight, he's not gonna get KO'd and then come and do a title fight, is he?
Not his last fight, actually.
He beat Rafael Fiziev. So he lost to Max, then he beat Rafael Fiziev.
If you told me a year ago Paddy Pimblett would be a UFC champion, I would call you Guy Y. I would accuse you of being a British HMer, and I would send you packing. Those were the astonishing words, a direct, unfiltered declaration from an expert discussing the meteoric rise of the baddie. Forget context, forget pleasantries. This wasn't some whispered rumor. It was a brutal, honest assessment of how unbelievable Pimblett's trajectory seemed just 12 months prior. The statement cuts through the usual pre-fight hype, exposing a raw, almost dismissive skepticism that has been utterly shattered by reality. We are just weeks away from the bowl-cut king potentially holding UFC gold, and that audacious prediction, once deemed absurd, now forces everyone to reckon with a new truth. The fight world is being forced to eat its words, and the taste is bitter for some.
Taking on Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, and the retirement of a legend. The human highlight reel hasn't got that nickname for nothing. Justin Gaethje has been a phenomenal athlete in the UFC, a former interim champion, former BMF champion. The body of work he puts down means that for me he's first ballot Hall of Famer. But it all ends on January 24th when Mr. Patrick Pimblett will become interim lightweight champion. How do you want it, boys? Knockout, submission, it ain't going past 2. Take your pick.
Nick,
That stunning shift in perception stems partly from a fundamental misunderstanding of Paddy Pimblett's physical presence. On paper, he's listed as 5'10", just an inch shorter than Justin Gaethje's 5'11". but the experts laugh at those numbers. Paddy Pimblett is big as shit for this weight class, one exclaimed, completely discarding the official tale. He's expected to look significantly larger in the cage, defying the statistics with raw, undeniable mass. This isn't just about height, it's about a man who carries immense physical strength into a division where every pound matters. This overlooked advantage, his true size and sheer power, is a hidden weapon that many, even seasoned analysts, consistently underestimate. It's a factor that could completely reshape the dynamics of any grappling exchange, giving him an unseen edge that mere height differences don't reveal.
Share your enthusiasm. Of course I do. I don't know if it's going to be quite so easy. You got to remember Justin Gaethje is a really good wrestler, so he can maybe stop the takedowns. Yeah. We also know that he has beautiful striking and serious knockout power. However, we have got to remember 2024, what was one of the biggest knockouts? It was Max Holloway flatlining Justin Gaethje, face planting him on the octagon. I'm not saying Paddy can't win. I'm just saying I think it might be a little bit tougher.
Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje, the self-proclaimed collegiate wrestler who doesn't wrestle, presents a curious paradox. Here's a man with a formidable grappling pedigree, yet he chooses to ignore it, preferring to engage in barbaric stand-up wars. He possesses powerful hands and an almost terrifying willingness to walk through fire, moving forward with an unwavering barrage of swings. This commitment to striking, while thrilling for fans, has often been viewed as a strategic oversight, a refusal to utilize a core skill that could offer a safer path to victory. It's a signature style, yes, but one that leaves him vulnerable to fighters who will exploit his neglected wrestling defense. The question remains, why sideline such a crucial asset in the sport of mixed martial arts? His opponents are certainly not complaining.
I also get how Justin Gaethje got here. Yeah, he was just 2 fights ago, face down on the canvas at UFC 300 in what will live forever as one of the greatest knockouts of all time. I get it. I saw it. My live reaction to that was like, oh my God. But you know what you get with Justin Gaethje? You get a kid who shows up, throws down. He's an exciting guy. He will get in your face. He will punch. He's not going to play some boring bullshit. He will fight. So the UFC was met with a challenge. Their champion's getting a divorce, so he stepped away. And now they need to either hold up the entire division or put together a freaking fight for the boys. So they put together a fight for the boys, and this is what they came up with, and I don't hate it.
Yet, a fascinating shift has occurred recently in Gaethje's career. The no wrestling mantra he upheld for so long appears to be slowly eroding. Experts note he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more, quietly abandoning a rigid philosophy. While taking down an elite grappler like Paddy Pimblett might be a mistake, this renewed focus on wrestling gives Justin a critical defensive tool. It means he now has the ability to keep fights on the feet, to control where the action unfolds, rather than being dragged into a grappling nightmare. This subtle evolution provides an unexpected layer to his game, a strategic ace in the hole that could prove vital against a submission specialist. The savage brawler now carries an uncharacteristic, yet potent defensive trick.
Justin Gaethje, a collegiate wrestler who doesn't wrestle. He's got powerful hands and willingness to engage. He has no problem moving forward, swinging wild. Paddy Pimblett, a big, strong grappler. Paddy's listed as a smaller person here. He will look bigger in the cage, and I think he is bigger. He's 5'10", Justin Gaethje's 5'11". I don't believe those numbers. Paddy Pimblett is big as shit for this weight class. And when he uses that size and he comes forward and he drags it to the ground, he has a lot of success. On the ground, he's a very slick grappler with incredible control. And if you told me a year ago that Paddy Pimblett would be a UFC champion, I would call you gay. I would accuse you of being a British homer, and I would send you packing. But here we are. We are just a few weeks removed from the bowl cut king holding a UFC belt. And I love Justin Gaethje. I love Justin Gaethje. He's a dying breed of savage in the UFC, but I don't think he wins here. He was a collegiate wrestler, but he doesn't wrestle. And while I wouldn't want him wrestling in this matchup, I think the problem is he's going to need to defend some takedowns, and those aren't great either. He just got taken down by Rafael Fiziev.
Despite Pimblett's grappling prowess and perceived high IQ, one glaring vulnerability continues to haunt him, his notoriously high chin. You could put a volleyball under Paddy Pimblett's chin. Fuck a tennis ball, one analyst bluntly stated, highlighting just how exposed his head often is. In boxing, fighters are taught to keep their chin tucked, often with drills involving a tennis ball to reinforce proper posture. Paddy, however, frequently leaves his head straight up in the air, a perilous habit against any elite striker, let alone someone like Justin Gaethje, who thrives on walking through fire and bombing away. This flaw is a constant target, a ticking time bomb in any striking exchange, and a stark reminder that even the most confident fighters carry exploitable weaknesses.
Here, I hate how high his chin is in fights. When you're in boxing class, they teach you, a lot of them will put a tennis ball under your chin. You keep the tennis ball there, right? You bounce on your toes. They slide paper under your heels. Make sure you're on your toes. You could put a volleyball under Paddy Pimblett's chin. Fuck a tennis ball. You could put a volleyball. His head is straight up in the air. And somebody like Justin, who has no problem walking through fire and bombing away, that could be a problem. But Paddy has been very vocal. I am not dumb enough to get knocked out by Justin Gaethje. So Paddy gets it. He's a high IQ fighter. Justin is one of the best to ever do it, at least as far as excitement is concerned. So I expect Justin to come forward, be exciting, swing wild, and I expect Paddy to get the takedowns, control from there. Paddy Pimblett's going to be...
However, Paddy isn't naive about his own perceived flaws. He's been very vocal, declaring, "I am not dummy enough to get knocked out by Justin Gaethje." This suggests a self-awareness and a strategic intelligence that many overlook. He sees himself as a high IQ fighter, implying he understands the risks his striking defense presents and plans to mitigate them. Rather than standing and trading recklessly, the expectation is that Paddy will leverage his grappling to control the fight, taking it to the ground where his chin is less exposed. This commitment to a smarter game plan, especially in high-stakes moments, could be the key to overcoming his glaring defensive liabilities. He knows his own dangers and intends to outsmart them.
Fighting Pimblett for the vacant title. And I know I've just picked favorites the entire card. And I know that is kind of probably not all that exciting for you guys. I am picking Gaethje to beat Paddy Pimblett in this fight. I've been proven wrong by Paddy Pimblett so many times. Over and over and over and over again. If you guys remember, I picked Tony Ferguson to beat Paddy Pimblett in that fight, and I will be honest with you guys, there was a moment there in that third round where it looked like maybe Ferguson was going to get something going because Pimblett did gas out pretty bad in that fight, but that is just cope on my end. And then even then, I picked Michael Chandler to beat him too. Have I ever been more wrong about a fight? Probably not, to be honest with you, but he looked really, really good. The problem with me and Paddy Pimblett, dude, is there's two things that he's just never fixed. His cardio and his striking defense. He still...
The skepticism surrounding Paddy Pimblett isn't new, and nobody embodies it more than Artem Lobov, who candidly admits to being proven wrong by Paddy Pimblett so many times over and over and over again. Lobov famously picked Tony Ferguson, then Michael Chandler to beat the baddie, only to watch Pimblett defy expectations. He even calls his own previous analysis COOP, acknowledging the sheer extent of his misjudgment. This history of being spectacularly incorrect casts an interesting light on future predictions. It begs the question, is it Paddy who keeps improving, or is it the experts who consistently fail to grasp his unique strengths and evolution? Lobov's repeated errors highlight a persistent puzzle that Paddy presents to the MMA world.
Keeps his chin way up in the air. I know that's why people love him. I know people love Paddy Pimblett because of that. The problem is, though, I just don't like seeing that and then trying to justify picking him to beat Justin Gaethje, who just beat Rafael Fiziev a couple of times in the last few years. Now, I know that Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, it is what it is, but another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up, too, is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looked so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's the much better striker out of the two. We've seen him go 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 rounds against Holloway. I know that he got knocked out in the last second of that fight, and it did kind of suck for that. I actually think I picked Holloway to beat him, though. I can't actually remember. But anyway, it did kind of suck for Gaethje for that to have happened, but, it did kind of create a viral moment that people are still trying to recreate to this
Despite his past inaccuracies, Artem Lobov still identifies two critical, unresolved issues in Paddy's game: his cardio and his striking defense. These, he argues, are flaws he's just never fixed. Even in victories, moments have emerged where Pimblett appeared to gas out, leaving himself exposed in later rounds. This consistent pattern of fading stamina, coupled with the aforementioned high chin, remains a significant concern. Against a relentless pressure fighter like Justin Gaethje, who can maintain a high pace for 5 rounds, these unaddressed weaknesses could prove disastrous. It's a challenge of endurance and defensive discipline that Pimblett will need to overcome if he wants to navigate the deep waters of a championship bout, an area where he has sometimes struggled.
With January coming up and the new Paramount deal, that main event of UFC 324, it's going to be headlined by Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Who do you favor in that fight?
Man, I got to go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that is more like enjoys like a knockdown drag out more than the other guy. Not that Paddy Pimblett doesn't love to fight. It's just Gaethje loves to like actually get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to kind of negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's like a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions and being aggressive with that. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it, and I think that's going to give him.
The conversation around Justin Gaethje often circles back to the toll his brutal fighting style has taken. Nick Pete, for instance, openly wondered if the wear and tear is starting to show on the former interim champion. Gaethje's long career and all the tough fights he's had are a testament to his warrior spirit, but also a stark reminder of the cumulative damage absorbed. Every highlight reel Koki's been involved in, every grueling war, adds another layer of mileage to his body. This isn't just about age, it's about the sheer intensity of his battles. Could this wear and tear be the unseen crack in his armor that a fresh, confident Paddy Pimblett can exploit? The physical cost of being the highlight is undeniably immense. Michael Bisping, while sharing the general excitement for this clash, injected a note of caution, emphasizing Gaethje's inherent dangers. He reminded everyone that Justin Gaethje is a really good wrestler, so he can maybe stop the takedowns, directly countering the narrative that Gaethje is purely a baller. Bisping also highlighted his beautiful striking and serious knockout power, underscoring the lethal threat Justin carries on the feet. This isn't just a slugger, it's a multifaceted fighter who, if he chooses, can dictate where the fight takes place and finish opponents with a single shot. Bisping's point was clear: underestimate Gaethje's full skill set at your peril, as his ability to defend takedowns and land devastating blows makes him a formidable challenge. However, Bisping quickly pivoted to Gaethje's recent brutal vulnerability. He grimly recalled one of the biggest knockouts of 2024, Max Holloway flatlining Justin Gaethje, face-planting him on the octagon. This devastating loss at UFC 300, a viral moment etched into MMA history, serves as a stark warning. While Gaethje is undeniably dangerous, he is not invincible, and his chin can be found. This recent memory adds a layer of complexity to the matchup, suggesting that while he poses a threat, he also carries a fresh scar from a spectacular finish. It indicates that if Paddy can connect, the fight could end abruptly, making Bisping's view less about who wins and more about just how truly difficult this fight will be for Pimblett. Angelo Badati cut through the recent knockout narrative, reminding everyone exactly what you get with Justin Gaethje. Regardless of a recent loss, he's a kid who shows up, throws down. Angelo emphasized Justin's unwavering mindset. He's an exciting guy. He will get in your face. He will punch. He's not gonna play some boring Beal shit. He will fight. This speaks to Gaethje's intrinsic nature, an unyielding commitment to aggression and chaos. Even coming off a devastating knockout, his mentality remains unchanged. He will bring the fight, seeking to hurt his opponent with relentless pressure. This psychological factor is huge, suggesting that his spirit remains unbroken, and he will march forward with the same savage intent. The very existence of this high-stakes fight between Pimblett and Gaethje is rooted in an unexpected challenge for the UFC. With their champion stepping away due to personal issues, the promotion faced a dilemma: hold up the entire division or put together a freaking fight for the boys. Their solution was to craft a compelling interim title bout, a move designed to keep the lightweight division vibrant and active. This context reveals that the fight isn't just about two fighters, it's a strategic play by the UFC to maintain momentum and deliver fan excitement in a time of uncertainty. It highlights the dynamic nature of matchmaking and how unforeseen circumstances can lead to incredibly compelling if hastily arranged contests that capture the imagination of the fan base. One of Paddy Pimblett's most undeniable assets is his exceptional ground game. Experts consistently praise his abilities, describing him as a very slick grappler with incredible control. When he manages to drag an opponent to the mat, he transforms into a completely different fighter, dominating exchanges and relentlessly hunting for submissions. This prowess on the ground is where he truly shines, leveraging his perceived biggest shit size for the division to wear down and overpower opponents. If Paddy can successfully implement his game plan and secure takedowns, he has a proven track record of controlling the action and eventually finding a finish. This grappling mastery is the foundation of his winning formula and a crucial counter to any striking assault. Uriah Faber, a legend in his own right, leans heavily towards Justin Gaethje, believing the fight plays directly into his strengths. Faber sees Justin as inherently comfortable in messy, high-pressure exchanges and adept at maintaining a punishing pace. Crucially, he points to Gaethje's Division I wrestling base, which, even if not actively used for offense, provides a critical defensive mechanism. This wrestling background allows Justin to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy, particularly his aggressive submissions. Faber suggests that Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it, dictating the terms and location of the fight. For Faber, it's about control, and Gaethje's ability to manage positioning could be the deciding factor. Yet, Faber isn't blind to Paddy's undeniable threat. He readily acknowledges that Paddy is very dangerous once the fight hits the mat, and is always hunting for submissions. This recognition of Pimblett's ground game highlights the razor-thin margins in this matchup. While Faber believes Gaethje can shut a lot of that down with his experience and tempo, the lurking danger of Paddy's submission skills remains a significant concern. It's a classic striker versus grappler dilemma, where one mistake could turn the tide instantly. Faber's analysis suggests a battle for control, with Gaethje aiming to keep it standing, knowing that any slip-up could lead him into Pimblett's dangerous web on the canvas. Sean O'Malley, another voice in the commentary, finds himself leaning toward Paddy, primarily due to how much Paddy has changed over time. He reflected on the early doubts surrounding the baddie, and feels those questions did not hit the same anymore. To O'Malley, Pimblett now appears more settled, more confident, and a lot more dangerous, especially when fights devolve into chaos. This isn't the same unrefined prospect. It's a fighter who has matured, absorbing lessons and sharpening his skills in the spotlight. This evolution suggests a more complete and formidable opponent than many initially anticipated, someone who has grown into his potential and is ready for the biggest stage. O'Malley sees a fighter finally coming into his own. O'Malley's assessment also included a critical look at Justin Gaethje's current career stage, pointing out that the miles on his body matter. He openly questioned how Justin would hold up if the fight drags on and gets physical, particularly given his age and recent knockout losses. While Gaethje's toughness is legendary, years of brutal wars take their toll. Every grueling battle, every concussive blow absorbed, chips away at a fighter's durability. This concern over Gaethje's accumulated damage and endurance in a protracted fight weighs heavily on O'Malley's mind, presenting a quiet advantage for a potentially fresher, younger Paddy. It's a subtle but significant factor in a contest where every physical attribute will be tested. What ultimately pushed Sean O'Malley to fully back Paddy was his belief in Pimblett's many paths to win. He highlighted Paddy's uncanny ability to get through tough moments and then shift the fight to the ground. Once the fight transitions to the canvas, O'Malley believes Paddy becomes very hard to deal with, capable of taking control and working towards a finish. This versatility, the capacity to adapt and find a different route to victory when striking becomes too dangerous, is a potent weapon. It means Paddy isn't solely reliant on one facet of his game, but can pivot to his grappling expertise, giving him an unpredictable edge that makes him a terrifying prospect when the fight hits the mat. Paul Felder dissects the stylistic matchup with precision, asserting that Paddy cannot fight Justin Gaethje the same way he fought Michael Chandler. He argues that Chandler's wild approach gave Paddy openings to take control, implying that Justin's more disciplined and tight exchanges style won't offer the same opportunities. This means Paddy cannot rely on the same chaotic tactics that worked against Chandler, but must adapt to a more composed yet equally dangerous striker. The blueprint for victory against Chandler simply won't translate against Gaethje's calculated aggression. Felder's insight underscores the need for Paddy to evolve his strategy, recognizing that every opponent presents a unique puzzle requiring a tailored solution, and Gaethje is no Chandler. While acknowledging that Justin Gaethje can be hit, Felder quickly adds a crucial caveat. Justin usually lands harder shots and avoids the kind of errors that cost Chandler the fight. This emphasizes Gaethje's efficiency and power in striking exchanges. He might take damage, but he often inflicts more, and he's less prone to the wild, reckless mistakes that open up counter opportunities. This disciplined aggression means Paddy won't find easy openings to exploit, and any striking exchange will come with a high cost. Felder's analysis paints a picture of Gaethje as a smart, powerful striker who picks his spots rather than a mindless brawler, making him a far more dangerous proposition than his recent knockout might suggest. Despite Gaethje's striking prowess, Felder subtly hints at a hidden advantage for Paddy, noting that Justin's mileage and age are real factors. He suggests this matchup might be happening at a moment that quietly benefits Paddy. This implies that while Gaethje is still elite, the cumulative effect of his brutal career, coupled with his age, could subtly diminish his performance over time. This isn't a direct condemnation of Gaethje, but rather an observation that Father Time, combined with an unforgiving fight style, eventually catches up to everyone. For Paddy, this could mean facing a slightly less durable or explosive version of the highlight, giving him a crucial if unstated edge in a truly dangerous fight. This clash between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje is far more than just another fight. It's a high-stakes collision of diametrically opposed forces, where power, pressure, and raw risk converge. Justin, the relentless forward-moving brawler with an evolving wrestling game, stands against Paddy, the slick grappler whose true size and high fight IQ are often underestimated, despite his glaring defensive flaws. Every expert has an opinion, from those seeing chaos and early finishes, to others predicting an arduous tactical battle. The narrative is complex, laced with past predictions shattered, career mileage, and strategic shifts. Both men step into the cage with entirely different tools and philosophies, ensuring this unpredictable encounter will deliver drama from the very first bell, challenging everything we thought we knew about these warriors.